Hi, Reiner. It's Dr. Yun, and I've got your message about not being able to find your sound, even in the old way, which I'm assuming has to do with blowing over the bottle, right? What it means when you've been playing for a while and that you lose your sound, and this happens throughout our career as shakuhachi players, we lose our sound, our sound is marginal for a long time, and it takes us a while to find it. There's a lot of things you can do to shake things up so you can find your sound again. First, you need to know the cause. Chances are what's happened is your shakuhachi embouchure has gotten too tight, not allowing you any flexibility. The more loose the embouchure, the more flexible, even to the point of extreme looseness. So in terms of exercises, the first thing you can do is get this puff cheek and try to make a sound. The only way to do it is to get the shakuhachi to position itself in front of that crazy earstream. Chances are it'll squeak, but then it'll settle. And you can actually get a really decent sound off a couple of puffy cheeks. And then you can actually play that way, completely loose. Do that for a little while. First with a full puff, and then just loose cheeks. Playing up and down, seeing where you got to put the flute. The flute has to move as the embouchure changes. And the embouchure should be getting looser and looser rather than tighter and tighter. What happens first when you're getting tighter is you lose your meri notes, right? So you got a tight embouchure. And then I can play kari and it sounds great. And then I try to play meri and it just goes away. It's just gone. So you have to actually loosen and bring the lips forward. The interesting thing is, once you get kari and meri with the forward lip, it's actually more forward in kari. So you're actually pushing forward. That's what it'll feel like. If you just look at mine on this video, you'll see that it's very neutral when I take the flute away. There's not much of anything. There's no tightness. Now I've come to an outdoor setting. I'm in Waterloo Park in case you're missing it. And the Waterloo Park has a wind going today, which you can see in the trees above us. This is the other thing you can do, is you can get outside and you start playing into the wind. And this will force all kinds of things to happen. The first thing is your sound will not be able to be heard. If you face the wind almost immediately disrupts this air across the mouthpiece. You'll instinctively try all kinds of things, like calming your air down, forcing air. None of it's going to sound good. And so you do the next best thing, which is, well, right now I'm facing the wind. It's a couple of different directions. You turn around from the wind so that your shoulders and back and all of this shelter your sound. That too is going to be different because playing outside, you don't hear the same. And so it changes. You will need to keep in mind that looseness is the key to this, especially when you've lost your sound, when you're tight and you know you're tight. The next thing to do, once you get the sound from this angle, keep in mind the wind is now at my back. I've got my sound. Now I'm going to turn sideways to the wind, which happens to be facing the iPad. It's coming straight across right now. And you can hear how the wind is cutting across my airstream and cutting it off. It means that my distance from the flute might have to change in order to play this. So instead of being far away or out over the top, I might actually have to bring my lips closer and down. And it's this position, this lips closer, forward, and down, that you'll see a lot of good shakuhachi players with, rather than the spread that. You want them to slightly forward, right? Making that slight of an adjustment changes the effect the wind will have on my sound. That's a little more forward than a neutral lip. My neutral lip would be something like this. A little bit of a lip sticking out. So that's how you get closer or further away from the mouthpiece without activating the same tightness muscles. You move the lips forward to the mouthpiece and over it with the top lip. It'll feel like you're squishing duck lips, but in fact when you look at it, it won't look anything like a duck lip, if that makes sense. So those two things, playing with puffed cheeks again, this extends the bottom lip and the top. Playing with that to get rid of any tension here, and then showing yourself, oh, I can play with a loose embouchure. And then getting outside in variable winds, and of course I can play in high wind. It doesn't matter. It's just after a while you know exactly what to do with your lips in order to get a good solid seal. All right, I'll put this up on YouTube for you, and hopefully we can get in touch with each other on Skype.